The following problem states, determine the number of carbon atoms in 0.515 grams of carbon, and in part B it says determine the mass of helium that contains 6.89 times 10 to the 18th helium atoms. So in the first part, we are looking at determining the number of atoms in this many grams of carbon. So we have mass, and we need to eventually go to atoms. Well, in order to go from grams all the way to atoms, we need to first convert to moles. And in order to do this, we need to use the atomic weight of carbon, which has units of grams per mole. So once we convert to moles, we can then go from moles to atoms, by using Avogadros number, which says 1 mole of anything is equal to 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd atoms, molecules, whatever you're looking for. So now that we have our think map drawn out, we can then practice this. We can then approach this problem. It says 0.515 grams of carbon. In order to go from grams to moles, we need to multiply by the atomic mass of carbon, which is 12.01 grams of carbon, which goes in the denominator, per 1 mole of carbon. So grams and grams of carbon cancels out. The next thing that we do to convert from moles to atoms is Avogadros number. We want moles on the bottom, so 1 mole of carbon is equal to 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd carbon atoms. So moles and moles cancels out, and we end up getting 2.58 times 10 to the 22nd carbon atoms. So let's go ahead and do part B now. In this case, we're starting off with helium atoms. We need to convert to mass of helium. So we're using the same think map as before, but now we're going in the reverse. So we're going from atoms, and we need to convert from atoms to moles. And all we use is Avogadros number. Then we go from moles to mass by using the atomic mass of helium. So in this case, we have 6.89 times 10 to the 18th helium atoms. So in order to go from atoms to moles, we need to use Avogadros number. And in this case, we have to use the reciprocal of what we used before. Times 10 to the 23rd helium atoms over 1 mole of helium. So atoms and atoms cancels out, and then now in order to go from moles to mass, we need to use the atomic mass of helium, which is 4.003 grams of helium per 1 mole of helium. And helium cancels out. We're left with 4.58 times 10 to the negative 5 grams of helium. So it's always important when you're practicing or when you're approaching these types of problems, you're giving yourself a think map so you know the format in which you need to follow to answer this question. So in part B, we went from atoms to moles by using Avogadros number as a conversion factor. And then in order to go from moles to mass, we had to use the atomic mass of helium to convert to grams. And then we're left with our final answer of grams of helium. Thank you.